Hi guys, well today we're going to be taking a look at the MSI R9 390X Gaming 8G. So AMD released their new 300 series last week, and the 390X is going to supersede the 290X. Now many of you all know that the series has received quite a bit of flack due to it not being a true next-gen revamp. Nevertheless, we're not going to get involved in that kind of debate today, but suffice it to say, the 390X is going to offer significant benefits and improvements over the 290X, especially if you're going to be using it for the intended purpose of ultra high resolutions such as 4K. 390X Gaming 8G brings with it the 5th installment of the renowned Twin Frozer cooling solution, which offers excellent thermal performance and keeps the noise levels to a minimum. Not only is this card custom cooled, but it also comes with a factory overclock to squeeze even more performance out of your games. The 390X Gaming 8G is available to buy now, and it costs in the UK £350, over in the States $430. This card is going to be cheaper than the NVIDIA GTX 980, and in some cases it's going to offer similar type of performance results. And if you guys want to know how this card performs in a wide selection of different games, then please head over to the link in the description for the full review. Right guys, well we're going to start with an unboxing of this card. As you can see, Gaming 8G is obviously from the gaming range, so we've got that dragon insignia there on the front, and then obviously in the corner here, 8GB of GDDR5, we've got the PCI Express 3.0, and this card is an overclocked edition. Now over on the back, we have a bit more of a rundown on that Twin Frozer cooler, so some of those fundamental features there. Some of the technical details as well regarding the card, but what we're going to do is just go straight into the box. Okay, so the first thing, we've got this foam lid here, a bit more protection during transit, and then inside here we have the first thing is the portfolio for the gaming series, so a bit more of a background there with the gaming teams, the sponsorships. And then inside here we've got the driver and utility disc. Obviously the driver, probably best to get from AMD directly, as that's going to be the latest. But we've got the utilities on there as well. And then we have this quick user guide, and this is multilingual. Inside this little box here we have a 4-pin to 8-pin adapter, in case you need that for your power requirements. And then we have the card inside an anti-static bag. So here we have the 390X Gaming 8G, and immediately as soon as you see that card you can see how vast it really is. And that Twin Frozer 5 cooler is going to be the most eye-catching thing about this card, as it's one of the main selling points. So right next to that card there I've got the 7970. It would have been a good idea to have the 290X, but unfortunately we didn't have one available. Anyway, side by side there, you can see the true magnitude of that 390X in pretty much any aspect that you look at it. And speaking of the measurements for the card, in terms of the length, you're looking at around 10.5 inches or 270mm. For the height, you're looking at 2 inches or 50mm, and then for the width, almost 5 inches, which is around 120mm. Now this card is dual slot, so you're going to need 2 spaces available on your motherboard and your computer case. And looking at that backplate there on the card, we've got a selection of different ports available. So first of all, we've got the dual-link DVI-D, which will give you up to 3K resolution at 60Hz. Then we've got the HDMI 1.4A, which will give you 4K resolution, and that's at 24Hz. And then DisplayPort 1.2, which will give you 4K but at 60Hz. So if you're wanting to get the best results, then it's advisable really to use that DisplayPort, as of course if you're using a single screen. Now the specifications of this card are interesting because this version from MSI is factory overclocked, so we see a slight bump there in the frequencies to improve the performance. So for the core clock, we're looking at around 1100 MHz, that's an extra 100 MHz compared to the 290X. And then for the memory clock, 6100 MHz, that's an extra 1100 MHz compared to the 290X. And then for the memory size, 8GB of GDDR5, so that is double the memory compared to the 290X, and those figures, by the way, are for the reference card. So some significant changes there compared to the predecessor card, and this does make a difference when we hit the games. And other things to note is that this card is ready for DirectX 12, So as soon as Windows 10 hits, those will work hand in hand. And this card is also ready for PCI Express 3.0. Now in terms of the power requirements, this card has 6 plus 8 pin PCI Express ports, and to ensure the best stability, AMD recommend a 750 watt power supply with 50 amps on the plus 12 volt rail. So the biggest talking point about this card is surely that Twin Frozer 5 cooler. Unless you've been living under a rock for the past decade, Twin Frozer has been central to MSI's success with their custom cooled graphics cards. This 5th edition here boasts a dual fan configuration. These fans are 100mm and they use dispersion blades, and the idea being is that they'll scoop up more air while avoiding drag. And MSI are actually claiming that there is a 19% more airflow with this cooler compared to the previous Twin Frozer 4. Not quite sure what happened there with the 1%, but you know, we can testify to it being extremely cool and quiet in operation, and later on we're going to have a quick demo to show the card powered up. Now one of the neat things about this cooling configuration is that when the card is idle and not being used for gaming, the cooling fans will stop spinning to reduce noise levels. Okay, so I've removed the Twin Frozer cooler, and all you need to do is remove all the screws and the cooler simply lifts off. Now doing this, by the way, will void your warranty, so do this at your own risk. So as you can see here, we've got a twin heatsink design, we've got thick copper heat pipes, and there are the thermal pads there for the RAM chips and also the VRMs. Now MSI are using military class 4 components throughout this board, so we've got the SFCs and the high C caps, so you're going to get longer life and better durability. Now at the heart of 390X is Grenada XT, so yes, this is the same design as the 290X with the Hawaii XT, so we've got the same circuitry, the same design, but there is much better manufacturing here. Right guys, well the cooler is back on the card and we've got it installed on our test bench because I want to show you what the temperatures are like, what the noise is like, and do a quick benchmark of a game at 4K resolution. So we've currently got the card idling in Windows 8.1. You can see there that the cooling fans are not spinning, so as I said earlier, if the card isn't loaded, then it will do this to reduce the noise of your PC. And the temperatures there are recorded by GPU-Z. They're still pretty decent even though the card is operating passively, so the heatsink there is more than capable of keeping the GPU at a decent temperature. So to get those fans spinning and to see how the card really responds in games, we're going to load up Thief, and while we do so we're going to leave GPU-Z on there to record the maximum temperature just to see how hot the GPU gets with that Twin Frozer 5 cooler. So if I just load the game up, we'll go into the options there. Just want to make sure that we've got the 4K resolution, make sure that the VSync is turned off, and also under the preset we want to make sure that that is set to high. So that is all good, and we'll go into the game. Okay, and if we hit benchmark, you can see there that the fans have now kicked in. They've only just started to spin, obviously on the loading page, and there we go. You can see them spinning, and to be honest with you, they aren't very noisy at all. Okay, so the benchmark is complete, and you can see there that we've got pretty decent results on the maximum and the average, and actually the minimum frame rate hasn't really dropped that much. So if we just come out of here, and there we've got the maximum GPU temperature. That's what it peaked out at. So it is efficient and it's cool at the same time. So there you have it. That in a nutshell is the new 390X Gaming 8G. So from a styling point of view, this card looks impressive. I really think that MSI has done a great job in refining and fine-tuning that twin Frozer cooler. But how a card looks is only really part of the story, right? So on a practical level, this gives us impressive results, but it also maintains those low noise levels too. And furthermore to this, we've obviously got that added bonus of having the cooling fans cut out when you're using the card for everyday tasks such as web browsing, reducing the overall noise of your PC, and this is quite important for a lot of people. So earlier on I said that this card is a bit more of a closer rival to the GTX 980 than the 290X ever was, especially if you're going for higher resolutions and going down that 4K route. Now we've obviously only covered the performance very briefly in this video, but if you're wanting a bit more of a comprehensive analysis of the card, looking at the card in a bit more finer detail, looking at a wider selection of games, then please head over to the full review in the description. We've got a full review over there on Vortez.net. I'll pop the link on the screen as well for you. So that pretty much concludes things today, guys. Thanks very much for taking the time out to watch. And I actually don't think I've said this for a while, but if you're not a subscriber, smash that button. I'll see you guys in the next video.